Good morning.
Come, my friend.
Thank you.
Good
Good morning, everyone. Could you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning. It is June 16th. This is the Broadwater County Commissioner meeting. And we will start this morning, as we do every morning, with just some real quick housekeeping. We do follow the Broadwater County Commission, civil meeting policy and the open meeting policy, which follows Robert's Rules of Order. This is to be more inclusive of our meetings for the citizens, and each person will be given 3 minutes to speak during public comment. With that, is there any public comment? Bill?
Bill Kearns, I would like to know about the status of paving and back. I know you've been talking about it for a couple months, and I've missed some meetings, maybe it's been answered, I just wanted to know.
Thank you. Any other public comments? John?
My name's John Wright. I got 3 issues I want to speak about.
All right.
One is, in your agenda here, you have specified to read or do more about the county manager. Can you provide me with a document stating what kind of manager you're referring to? Number one. Can you do that?
Okay. And number two?
Number two is the item of the second reading of the floodplain. Is the county anticipating on leaving the conditions for all pre-existing structures and facilities and things under the old rules, or are you planning on changing them with the new rules? In other words, or will they be grandfathered in? And I'd like to have a responsive answer of that.
Okay.
Thirdly, is a very serious question, which I have done some research on it, is about the big LP tank that was taken out of the parking lot. I have 2 sources of information from it, one locally and one higher up, AmeriGas, that 3,000 gallon LP tank was there for the purpose of emergency. That Northwest cannot, by their own admission, provide essential LP services if they lost power for 48 hours. After 48 hours, they can't guarantee service. Has that been corrected? Has it been improved? Or is the problem still is, or is the tank coming back? Would you answer that, if you know?
Anything else?
Oh, I'd just like to have some answers.
All right. Any other public comment? Linda?
My name is Lynn Huth. I have only one issue to discuss today. And that's I have some questions about solid waste and recycling. When I go down to recycle, I don't know where to put things. And I wonder if you're planning on labeling that stuff, or if what you're taking for recycling, where it goes, and that's all I need to know.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Any other public comment? Tim?
I'm not sure if you're going to cover this in your mail or other part of your agenda, but just good news finally. Might be part of the Montana Minute. We're finally moving forward on the Cabin Gulch Restoration Project with some timber management. RY was awarded the contract, so we do have a reprieve from running out of timber for a little while anyway, locally, and that's good news. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Public comment? Public comment? All right. Thank you very much. Bill, I was going to answer your question right away because I didn't think anybody else would address it, but John did, so I'll answer both those at once. The paving, it's going to be done in this, I don't know if you two have gotten an update on this either. It was pushed back. What we have is a company coming to do a demo project on our parking lot. So that is a nice way to get the project done, and we won't have to pay for that. Other counties are being invited to watch the demo. we will be able to somehow recycle the paving, and I'm not sure what the details are with that. That is Dana's, and for more detail, we'll have to ask.
Is
him.
there a date?
There is a date, and I think it's the second week of July.
July 15th.
July 15th, thank you. So right after 4th of July. And anything else on that? I think that's the only update at this point. The big thing is the tank being moved. The tank had a leak. It was an AmeriGas tank. The hospital worked with AmeriGas to get that removed. They did have a contract until September, but because of the leak, they were able to get that done. A gentleman actually drove into the fence a couple weeks ago. I don't know if anybody noticed that. He did miss the tank. Had he not missed the tank, that would have been a horrific situation. Something else with the tank. It had nothing to do with Northwestern Energy. This was the hospital and AmeriGas, and different needs with that tank. So as far as the county manager, I have no idea what you're talking about. There is no county manager listed on the agenda for today. And the floodplain, FEMA and the different agencies that do that, RMDC, put together a plan that we heard from about 2 years ago. And what they've done is put together an ordinance, which is the next step in that process. We need to have the ordinance in order for any Broadwater County citizens to be able to purchase flood insurance. That's the need for it. It will follow the new maps. There were some discrepancies, and they have written to the county that they will be changing those and working with Sean Higley on those, one being the border southern end of the county. That was fixed. So I think that's it. As far as the recycling, Brian, if you would address this further here at 10:15. But it was well labeled, but I think weather has kind of done some numbers on those signs, and I think that's a really good suggestion to have, not suggestion, but a good question. I think it's a good suggestion to have better signage so that people driving by know what that is for those who don't. We have new people moving to the county. Yes, we are well aware of the Cabin Gulch Restoration Project. We did receive a letter on that from the Forest Service as well as phone calls. We are tickled to see that moving forward. So, with that, we will move on to, yes, Tim.
Can I just make a point of, or request a point of clarification? Mr. Wright brought up the fact about a county planning or county manager position, and I think maybe it would be proper just to clarify what you have on the agenda under items for discussion where it says county management.
Yep, and that's not necessarily manager. Management and manager are two different things.
Mhm.
County management is what the commission does for the county overall. We are the county managers. Elected officials and department heads manage their own departments, so that's what county management is. It has nothing to do with hiring any new positions. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
With that, we will move on to Montana Minute. Franklin, do you have anything that you'd like to say?
No, I
Elaine, do you have anything good to say about our state or community?
I have two things to say.
All right.
Okay, number one, thank the good Lord for the rain we got, because the farmers really needed it bad. You know, you can look all around, and some of these other counties around us are in mud, and here we're choking on dust. So, and the other thing is, yay, Spurs. Good games, very good games.
agree with you on the rain. There's supposed to be more coming in the next couple of days.
And snow.
So it was baldy the other morning, it was white it was.
But they're saying even snow.
Down to 6,000 feet.
Only in Montana.
Yep. My Montana Minute is just a kudos to this community. We have so many things going on. We just ran into this again. County groups, nonprofits and civic organizations are having hard times finding dates to have events because there's so many things going on. I'm gonna leave one off the table and let Mr. Kearns bring that up. And the other one is, this week we have Slice of Summer. Third Thursday of June, July, and August at Heritage Park, and free swimming for the kids. So Slice of Summer this Thursday. And Montana Minute. Bill?
Bill Kearns, I think it's very interesting this week, the Boy Scout expiration, and I don't, Judy, do you have any information on that, or what?
The big jamboree.
Jamboree, I guess it's open to the public.
I don't know all the details on it.
Usually it is, they're fascinating to watch, and for us, for Townsend, Broward County to be selected, I think it's quite an honor. I think it has to do with having such a nice rodeo facility out here that they're able to have some place to go. And I did want to mention the other day, Rotary honored Mel Putrick for 50 years in Rotary, 39 years as treasurer. Now, I don't know anyone that wants 39 years of treasurer of anything, but I thought that was kind of outstanding, so I did want to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Any other Montana minutes? All right. With that, we are almost at 10:15, but I am going to take care of housekeeping from last week first. These are the minutes from June 9, 2014. They were emailed out by Ann earlier last week.
Bill, who is gonna take Nell's place?
Jan Huber.
She'll do a good job. Yeah, we need it back.
And a motion.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 9, 2014. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Ann. 10:15, Brian Holmes, Solid Waste Supervisor, monthly update.
Morning, Brian.
Morning. It's been a while since I've been here.
It has.
Emergency to attend to last month, so. As far as solid waste goes, I'll answer the recycling question first. We are probably gonna need to put some signage down there. The signs that were there were laminated paper that were taped to bins. They worked, but the wind doesn't work well with them and the rain. So we'll work on getting some more permanent signage on those. And as far as what we accept, that hasn't changed. 1 through 7 plastic film, aluminum cans, steel cans, paper, and cardboard.
Fiber. Clothing.
Yeah, we need to take that as well. The recycling is actually picked up quite a bit. We do have a collection canister at Winston now. We took one of our 20-yard cans out there. It frees up a trailer. We had another trailer built by the high school shop class. It's built. It's a good trailer. We'll probably use that for going around and picking up the various smaller sites that we have. Like the boat shop has a collection area. The sawmill and the school have collection sites for cardboard that we go around and pick up from when they're full. We've also got an agreement with a gentleman from White Sulphur Springs with cardboard. He collects it over there, brings it over here and bales it in our baler. He comes over on weekends. We let him use our skid steer, move bales around, that kind of thing. He is a kind of a private individual who took on the collection of cardboard in Marr County. He works for the highway department during the week. Him and his kids do this on the weekends. So it adds to our volume. It works well. And we'll work out an agreement with him on what it costs to use our baler and that kind of thing. And, so it's not hurting us by any means having it here. And we're looking at ways to, get the most bang for our buck out of the cardboard. Either going through different vendors to get it to the mills, get a better price for it from the mill instead of going through a third-party broker. But right now we're just stockpiling to get a semi-load, to get a better price if we can ship a full semi than just a few bales at a time. So that's going fairly well. We found out that that's about a 3/4 time job instead of just a half-time like we thought it would be. It's picking up, so that's good. The plastic compactor is working well. We're not quite sure how we're gonna tell when it's full. We just keep putting plastic in it and it keeps working, so. One of these days it probably won't compact and say, oh, we better go dump it. But we'll figure that out when it gets here. But I was figuring we could probably get 3 to 4 months of plastic in that thing, and we're going on 2 months now, so
Nice.
it should be roughly half to 3/4 full. The other issue with the canister site is, I mentioned this when it happened a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when they built the new impound yard. They put that fill in there, and it pushed on our litter fence on the west side of the canister site. And that fencing is now gone. It's pulled off the posts, it's not in very good shape at all. We need to get it replaced. I think we've got enough fencing here to take care of it, but getting the manpower over there to do it is gonna be an issue. And if there's any cost associated with it, I'm not so sure that should just be, I don't think it should come out of the solid waste budget for a fence that was torn down from somebody else's project. So if there is cost with fixing it, we'll have to figure out where that's gonna come from.
Okay,
But the fill they put in there has sloughed over and pulled up fencing down, and it just looks bad. The rest of the canister site looks pretty good. Our other rural collection sites look pretty good. We spent some time last week cleaning up those underneath the canisters. That needs to be done periodically anyway. Wind-blown trash, we keep a pretty good tab on that, get it picked up when it happens. And just fence repair, Brent's been good about that now, doing that when he has a free moment from baling cardboard. We're caught up with the cardboard. We had quite a backlog.
I bet.
Now we're caught up with that, so we can do about a canister a week. And it doesn't take him all week to get that done. He does maybe 2 days of baling, and that canister's empty, so we spread that out throughout the week to keep him from going completely crazy. But it's working well. I've heard some rumors from other counties about the landfill we're hauling to maybe closing. Tri-County Disposal may be closing their landfill in the next couple of years because they need to build a new cell. They don't have the money to do that with. So I think it's kind of a scare tactic for the Lewis and Clark County folks because they've not mentioned anything to me about it. But Lewis and Clark County is doing a big countywide study of their solid waste issues now. And I think it's part of that he mentioned that he doesn't have the money to build a new cell, so he's going to close his landfill. Like, they haven't said anything to us about it yet, so rumors is all it is. If that happens, we probably need to, the Solid Waste Board and I will be looking at ways to take care of that. Either change the way we handle our trash to make it easier to go to Lewis and Clark County landfill, or look at Logan a little closer to see if we can make that work for us. The nice thing is we have options. Going to Logan, it would just double our travel time is all.
And gas and,
It would be a little more expensive, but out of the two, the Site E site in Helena and Logan landfill, to get in there with the current semi that we have and the current way we handle trash, Logan would be the preferred option. There's no easy way to get the Site E from Broward County. You have to go through residential areas, and it's just, wouldn't be fun. But there are things we could look at to do that differently too. We could go to a compaction system and haul on smaller trucks and that kind of thing. But that would be a significant capital expense to set that up, and I don't know if we're ready to do that yet. So, Solid Waste Board will be looking into that. We're still looking for members of the Solid Waste Board. We've had a couple people show interest, but nobody has bit the hook. They've nibbled at it, but they haven't bit. So, we're still looking for people there. Trudy did a nice job with an article on the recycling program in the newspaper here a while back. Like I said, recycling is going well. People like to do it. I think we're going to put a cardboard collection trailer at Toston here in the near future to see how that works. The problem is going to be getting trailers secured so it doesn't disappear. We were able to do it at Winston fairly well, but who knows? So we'll work on that. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have that out there. And if that works well, we'll expand it at Radersburg. And I don't know if we will to Dry Gulch. We don't see a lot of cardboard at Dry Gulch. Most of those people bring their stuff into town. So we will take care of that as the time comes. Equipment-wise, we've got everything running. I think we're gonna look at doing a rebuild on our backhoe in the next year. It's to the point where I think it needs it. And we'll deal with that when it happens. We'll probably do it in the winter time because that's our slower time. So, other than that, that's about all I got. Any questions?
I could have one question. What is the price difference for dumping in Logan compared to Helena?
Logan's actually a little cheaper. It's about $1 a ton cheaper. At least it was the last time we looked at it. We would have to bid it to see what they would charge us. But it has its pros and cons as well. And the travel time is the big one. It would take half a day to get down there and back with a load of trash, so.
Thank you.
Where's the other site? You said you had to go through residential to get to it?
The Lewis and Clark County Site E landfill. Is that on?
The one you had, you said you had to go through the residential area to get to it.
You can go, it's off of York Road,
Oh,
so you gotta go down towards Lakeside and around that way. You can go down Spokane Creek Road, but you gotta make a couple of pretty sharp turns at some night to get there. The City of Helena transfer station goes out York Road in that way, and turns on, what is it, at Fox Ridge Golf Course. You have to turn and go down there to get there. It's not a real easy place to get to with a 53-foot trailer. And there's weight limitations on some of those county roads like Montgomery Drive and that kind of thing that we have to deal with. It would add time. Wright County is the best option for us, hopefully they stay there.
Yeah, it's been a good relationship for a number of years.
I think that's all I had. We've had a community service worker for the last couple of days. That works pretty well. Summertime is nice when we get younger kids. We get them all day so we can actually keep them busy. As far as the Boy Scout thing out at the fairgrounds, we do have a canister out there for them. That's being done as a community service for them. We're not charging Boy Scouts for it. Just because I think they do some good work, so we'll return favor. We've also been helping out with the horses. Put the canister out there for the manure. So if anybody wants any more, we're glad to come up and we'll load you up. We also did another deal that we had never done before. The Montana Bow Hunters Association got a hold of us, and they wanted a canister for their carp derby they had.
Oh, cool.
So we took the canister out to Hellgate Campground, and they didn't quite fill it with carp. They didn't get as many this year as they wanted. And then we put those carp in our compost pile. So we're doing that. We charge them for hauling the canister out there and down. It could be an interesting relationship there. So one year they had 11 tons of carp.
Wow. 11 ton.
That's a lot of fish.
Yeah.
But this year they didn't get it out. I think they missed the spawn by about a week. But that's about all we're doing. It's roof season, getting a lot of shingles.
Yeah, you can go down in the street and see that going on.
The rain slowed things down this weekend. That's really great. All in all, things are going good.
Cool.
Our new employees started a 6-month period, so I think we'll keep them.
Good.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, any questions for Brian? All right, well, thank you very much.
You bet.
And have a good day.
I will.
All right. And we're right on time. Is Nicole here yet? We'll give her a few minutes. But we'll just do mail for a few minutes and, well, you know what, I should have done this while Brian was here. Brian is the co-chairman of the safety committee. We had a safety meeting this week. We got a draft, or excuse me, an memo from Brian. And this is the draft safety manual for the county. He will be scheduling a community public hearing and a resolution to adopt this here in about 2 weeks. So if you guys could give it a read and any edits that it needs, and then be ready to give Brian any feedback, and we'll do that. And this is a memo regarding the year-end claims process. I just thought it was something to share with you guys. And with that, it is 10:30. Nicole Brown, County Planner, and Dana Rouser, Road Supervisor, discussion regarding silence barrier roads. Come on. Good morning.
So Dana came to me, I'm gonna pass up some copies of maps here. The blue are county roads, the yellow are RID roads in Silas subdivision. Dana had come to me, to have a conversation basically, to figure out how we can get this all in one plan. Essentially pulling out of county ownership of the roads in blue, and either discussing with the homeowners, the residents of this development, to create an RID or a homeowners association. You know, the biggest reason being that this is a subdivision. There really shouldn't have county roads in the subdivision. I realize this was done several years ago, and that was the process at the time, but now, you know, with their workload, we really need to make it equitable for every subdivision. You know, really we shouldn't be looking at this any different than the subdivisions in the South Henry County or anywhere else in the county. So, our suggestion is to remove all of the blue roads, and I don't mean these external roads. Pond Road, Cactus, and Silos being county roads. but to remove all of the internal county roads. And set up a public meeting with the folks of the Silos Area Development to help them either create an RID or let them know that they can proceed with their own homeowners association. So basically, this is just an informational meeting to the commission. This is the route that Dan and I are going to be taking.
And we actually don't do the work in there. You know, we've done a little bit lately with a few pipe. And that's basically all we do. BSE is contracted through, the RID situation and the county. So as far as my workload, it's not a lot of workload, but it's still having to run out, mess with them, see what needs to be done, and then getting BSE lined up to do it.
And the bookkeeping side of it, to say, okay, well, you did, a quarter mile of a road, of county road, or half a mile here in RID, so knowing where to pull those funds from. But the overall root of it, it's a subdivision.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think, I think we need to just get the county in what
Agree with you.
And then, like Nicole says, leave it to the people, have a meeting, leave it to them to decide how they wanna handle the internal part of it, so. We'll still continue to do our county, silos and hauling cactus, so.
It makes sense because other people in subdivisions, we don't do their roads.
No, we don't.
You don't have any kind of homeowners, like who contacts BSC when they
I
need
do.
to? Oh, they get hold of you, then you get hold of BSC?
Well, they don't even get hold of me, I just make sure it gets done. There are some people out there I've talked to in the past month and a half, and I mean, some people are fine with the way things are, some people, they call and ask when it's gonna be graded or whatever, but, for the most part, the ones I've talked to are just, they're just roads and they don't get, a whole lot of use and, well, they get use, but they don't get abused too bad. And we've been actually trying to go in and put some material on here and there too, so to try to, get them built up to where they should be. And I know we've got a lot of them out there that aren't yet, but, so.
Are there any other subdivisions that are in the same boat?
We've got one up on the hill here at Sand Hill subdivision.
That was started by the county.
That was started by the county. There's still 2 county lots there, and I don't know why we're doing it. I have no idea why we continue to do that.
Do the road, you mean?
Yeah. We went in and built them. In fact, I'm the one that built them. I can't remember when that was, it's been quite a while ago, but,
Back in the 90s.
yeah. So, yeah, we need to do something with that one too.
And so we'll be moving forward with that. My preference would be to take on one
Yeah.
project at a time. And we'll be looking at if there are any other developments in the county, any other subdivisions that are getting the same service that probably shouldn't be. So we anticipate holding this meeting, I would say, in about 3 weeks is 4th of July weekend, so somewhere in there. Just this informational meeting that we would just call for the folks out there at the silos. And just let them know that this is the way we're going to proceed, that we're going to suggest that these are no longer county roads, but to give them the tools to make the decision for themselves, and just, give them that information, that if they would like to create an RID, the county can help them with that process, or if they want to do it themselves with the homeowners association. Basically, the RID is,
And actually just finishing up the roads that aren't RID right now.
correct.
So, it's half and half. Did you ever find out about how many was out there were all paying the RID fees, or?
Yeah, I've got the list here, I didn't count them out.
Okay, that looks like quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few, 3, 4 pages, and they're paying $20 a year currently. So, and it can be up to them, it can be a dollar amount that, you know, we certainly aren't looking for the commission to make a decision today. We won't be looking for these folks out there to make a decision. Something that I would anticipate could begin next fiscal, not next, but what would that be, 15, 16 fiscal year? So that all of those taxes would have been collected and they can have some money built up. Maybe they want the roads maintained more frequently, maybe less frequently. You know, maybe they want to pay more. You know, but this will be completely up to those folks to decide if they want the RID, the homeowners association, and what dollar amount they want to agree upon to pay, so.
And I haven't got BSC's bill for that little bit of stuff they've done in it yet, but I think that fund's sitting at about 13, the RID, sitting at about 13,000, a little over. And I'm anticipating probably, 1,500 coming out of that, I suppose, or 2,000 just for the grading they did this spring and, the road work they did, so. And we're getting them, in decent shape now. I mean, it's taken a while, but, when they get let go for so long, it's just, takes time. With, a little bit of money, so.
So if by doing this, would you have to contact BSC?
Yep.
They're,
It's gonna be up to these people to do that.
okay.
They'll have to find somebody within the subdivision to, to head it up or whatever.
The way I anticipate this working, that there would be, one, probably two, just as a backup, points of contact in this development, similar to a homeowners association president, even though they decided to go that route. But so then that person could contact either Dana or I, if they wanted to contact me and see how much, what their funds were available and the work they wanted to do, they would then submit the claim to me. I would pay the claim through this RID fund. So there would be small administration by the county, but then the RID is also a good way because it's forcing everyone to participate, whereas a homeowners association, there's no real mechanism to force everyone to pay in an RID. It comes through on your taxes.
If you want to force it.
If, right, exactly, yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be up to those people,
Sure.
if you guys decide to do something with this.
But so, yeah, there would just be, one point of contact with probably a backup that would contact. I would anticipate myself to help them.
It would be wise also to invite BSC to the meeting.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to contract with someone else, maybe maybe there's another company or person that they want to contract with.
Sure.
Because I know out of Lazy HM, I think they contract with Gruber, I think, out of Helena. Most of the time, so.
All right.
Looks like a win-win.
Any comments, questions from the board?
No, you're getting a start on it, it's good.
So we're okay to move forward with this meeting, again, not looking for a decision to be made, but the commission is okay with us moving forward to hold this public meeting?
I think the more communication with the public, the better, so yeah, absolutely. Thank you though for letting us know.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right,
All right.
thank you. Okay, we are still a few minutes early, so I will just call you back up in about 7 minutes.
Sounds good.
All right. Go ahead and resume mail here. I don't know why these are there, they're empty. This is from the Montana Department of Transportation, and this is the state fuel tax allocations to the counties. And our allocation is $60,838.91.
side is down about 400 from last
Yeah.
year.
I'm not sure what the formula is that determines that. There, I noticed it went down as well. I have a couple of claims here that are commission claims that just need to be signed, so we can put them in the pile. Except for the one from Pilt, which we can run as a vote.
Take a look at those.
Thank you. And if you could pass those back, we do need to vote on at least one of them. Thank you. All right, 10:45, Nicole Brown, County Planner, Market Wage Adjustment and Department Name Change Decisions. I don't see Nicole here. I don't know if she was gonna come back for this.
Can we call her?
Yeah, we certainly can. Just ask her. Do you have me the phone, or would you like to dial it? Either one.
I don't know her number, so. 901.
Thank you. Just a message at this point. Okay, thanks. I'll just wait. I didn't know if you wanted to come back for this. All right, we have your paperwork from about a month ago now. We heard from both you and Jenny. Do you have anything more to share with us?
I think I have dumped as many pieces of paper on you as I feel comfortable doing and still being friendly. So no, I don't. I think I've given you everything that I can think of. If you have other questions, if you're looking for more information description. The one thing that I noticed on this job description, the most recent one that I've given you, there was not a line for grant writing, and I know that that was something we talked about. So I'd be happy to add that if we need to add it.
All right. I will request to add that,
Sure, okay.
just because I think it's a need. I think it's an area that you've expressed interest. I think it's an area that you could excel. So it might be a really good fit.
Super, yeah.
Do we have a letter from the board?
I did have one, I did have one, from
Yep,
January, maybe,
June 10th.
June, okay, that's right, it came in, oh yeah, last year.
I think one of the things to remember here is she's not paid by county money.
Right, that's true.
Because that's a self-sustaining budget.
Thank you.
And what is the story on wanting to change the name? Department change?
Basically, to encompass everything I'm doing, right now I'm planning GIS, Parks and Recreation. It just seems like community development would cover all of that. Not to mention this business with the RIDs and the roads. I certainly don't mind helping Dana, he doesn't have someone in his office to do the administration and do the paperwork. Roads are definitely a part of land development, not necessarily planning or subdivision. And a lot of times I think in the public, planning is subdivision, so they don't quite understand what my department is doing or can do for them. So to me, it seems like community development would sort of cover all of those areas of land use. Just kind of a blanket over everything instead of these little descriptions that fall under this planning. But community development was just the one that I could come up with that would best cover that off the top of my head if there was something else that the commission thinks
I
it should
think
be.
that is a good fit, because it does describe what we do,
And not
a
just.
blanket policy.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's gonna be planner slash county or development part. Is that how it's gonna be?
Well, I was thinking community development, either community development planner, community development director. I didn't come up with a name for myself, I guess, for my position, so much as the department, community development. The other counties that I've researched that have community development, they have a community development manager, they have a community development director, community development supervisor. But as far as that actual position, I guess I put down on this job description, community development director. But again, not married to any of it, so if you have better suggestions or ideas, we can.
What would be your preference, or?
You know, I guess community development director it seems to flow better. Community development planner, that one's okay too, but you know, I guess, director seems to be the one that I've referred to the most. Community development director, and the one that I've heard the most, based in other counties, so.
And the increase is market wage adjustment?
Correct. Going back to, I think, a few meetings ago, I'd given you information on what other counties are paying for this position. And so that's where I'd come up with the dollar amount. This letter that I sent you April 17th, I was requesting that this position be paid $19.50 per hour with a 50-cent increase after 6-month probationary period, and an additional $1.50 upon completion of my AICP certification. AICP is American Institute of Certified Planners, and so that's still a route that I would like to be headed towards, is receiving my certification.
And how long will that take?
About a year.
Can you do it online?
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
Do you want them as two?
Yeah, I think it'd be wisest to do it as two. That way it's most clear.
I'll make a motion then that we do a market wage adjustment at the request of, I'm drawing a blank this sec. No. On behalf of the planning board. I was having a senior moment there.
Well, that one time when we discussed this stuff, was it 15 something you're getting now?
1538.
Okay, so wasn't we gonna, and during that discussion, it was gonna start like at 17, and then 6 months or something else, and there was this dollar after the certification or something? Remember how?
What are you making now?
1538.
Is there money in the budget?
There's money in my budget, yes. And that was actually the first thing that the planning board looked at before we even headed down this path last year. Because I still want to have a job for the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years, so, you know, if the money's not there, well.
How many meals does that, do they get from planning?
As far as I know, we don't have meals.
Okay, yours is just self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining. Mhm.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Do you want to put a number to that on this, for a starting point? Or an ending point?
Yeah, see, it's kind of hard to explain. There was a $5 an hour raise.
Only after I've received my certification.
Is that with the, I thought this year was the 20.
I'm requesting to start at 1950. The planning board requested 20, and Jenny, bless her heart, requested 25, but I realized that that's far-reaching and overzealous, so I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. So my request was 1950. with the 6-month probationary period. Even though my duties aren't necessarily changing, I feel it's only fair for this commission to have that opportunity to give me that 6 months probation. See if
So
I'm worth it.
we actually owe $4 an hour.
Correct. When I went from, also, this is not just to say I'm going from this to this. When I went from the planning board secretary to planner, I received $1. And I should have requested more. I should have done more. So now I'm trying to get myself brought back up to the level that I should have been, even though I've been in this job for the last 2 years at this low rate of pay. Thus the market adjustment to bring me up to where I feel I need to be, to what I feel I deserve.
You're making $15.50 now?
$15.38.
Like I say, it's so hard to people when you hear a jump like that, so.
May I make a
you know,
suggestion?
What, different one to talk, they said that in Jefferson County, there's everybody getting a raise, well, in another department, and they just kept going, raising them, by the time we got to the end, then the ones that started, well, they got that now. And so what they did, they had a regular study salary, commission, and it goes through and checks amount per salary on, for everyone, based all around and stuff, and from my understanding, everything from the cost of living to what area you're in, things like that, you know.
And I did do some research on wage studies that have been done by other counties in the state of Montana, where they did compare to other counties. Currently, 25% of the planners in Montana make $19.57 an hour. Right now, I'm in about the 2%. The other 75% are making more than that $19.57, and that was for 2012. I guess I should state.
Yeah, period. Sometimes some make more, some make, depending on experience, longevity, and like all that thing, I guess, I don't know how it's done. But I mean, if each department's gonna keep coming in for these raises, maybe that's where we're gonna have to go.
Just to remind the commission, that's kind of what we've been doing, is what Franklin just described. And every year, people come forward with requests because it's budget season. That's what happens. We don't have longevity. We can certainly investigate that, Franklin, if you would like to. But we have been involved in a salary investigation now for, I don't know, 4 months, roughly. So I agree, following the lead of Jefferson County and other counties, I think was a smart move on our part to be looking at these details and to be looking at the job descriptions, the job titles, the job responsibilities, and the pay related to that, not individuals. And that's one of the things that with the county planner that we need to remind ourselves, we're not talking about Nicole here. We're talking about the county planner or the county community development director. If we had to fill this position tomorrow, if we had to start advertising tomorrow, we would not find a qualified person who would step into being a supervisor of a department, being responsible for county planning boards, all the different things that you're responsible for, GIS. We wouldn't find somebody who'd already been through the learning curve and knew what they were doing for 15 something an hour. And that's what we have to look at. What would this position garner if we had to apply tomorrow or advertise tomorrow to fill that position? On the same hand, it's a fact that Broadwater and County employees are at the lower percentage in the state. It is what it is. I wish that were not the case, but it is. I think despite that, though, we have some superb individuals working for this county. And I think for that we should be grateful. You're one of them. But we can't do merit raises either. It has to be a market adjustment. That does not mean, though, that if the market says it's 1950, because that's what the average is, or those 57% of the counties are at, that we are obligated to go to that point if it doesn't make sense with the rest of the structure or we don't have the money. So one of the things that I would like to do is propose just a starting point. It seems that we're kind of hung up on the numbers on where to even begin. We have a list of what department heads are making in the county. Sanitarian is the highest at $24.90, and solid waste is second at $22.85, road at $21.62, the health nurse at $21.39, detention center administrator at $20.46, the undersheriff at $19.92, maintenance at $18.90, weed at $17.50, and then planning at $15.38. So I think we need to look at the salary for this position in relation to the others. But then we also have to look at what are some of our non-supervisor positions making, because you are a department head supervisor. There are additional responsibilities that go with that, and the buck stops with you before it stops with us as your supervisor. So there does need to be a differential between an employee and a supervisor. We have employees making, part-time employees making $16.03, or $16.67 an hour, or $16.59 an hour. So as a department head responsible for a department making about $1 less an hour than employees who do not have that responsibility, that's something we have to address. So what I would suggest is this. I would suggest that we look at a market adjustment, but no name change at this point. This is a market adjustment of the county planner, and we look at the rest of the department heads and compare the responsibilities. Planning at this point is part-time, and you do not supervise any individuals at this point. So what I would suggest is that we raise you at this point for market adjustment to what weed is making right now, which is $17.50 an hour. But we readdress this in a year or two with a couple of goals in mind, and you already put these together. One is grant writer. That just makes you sustainable, your department sustainable, pays your way, and grant writers garner a high salary. Second is the county planning license. That would, I think, more than get us in a position of being able to raise you even further. And then the other, and then in 2 years, or a year or two, depending on where you're at and how things have come together, we meet again for a department change, title change, perhaps a market adjustment, or creating a new position at what a starting pay would be at that point. Advertise in-house like we did with the accounting manager, and then hire from there. That would be my suggestion. At that point, we could easily look at a higher rate of pay. But you're right. We thought we were doing a good thing by raising it now $1 an hour from secretary to department head. And we just didn't take the time that we're taking now to think it through, to analyze, and really dive into the numbers. So for that, I do speak on behalf of the commission and apologizing for not raising you up 2 years ago to a more responsible rate of pay. That's my suggestion. And I'm open to argument, debate, counter proposals, what have you.
And I think that makes sense. Coming to 1950, I just kind of go, without wanting or whatever, but if we get to 1950, you can bet we're gonna have 1,000,001 with that door walking the same place. I would think.
That's what, I can just, evidently it's the way Southern's done by MSU. And that you have a guideline for everyone. And now we're kind of jumping as each one comes in. I'd like to have a little more on that, but it's like, what's established, everything is supposedly, it's one person with MSU. Like to give us a general look. And the other thing too, I think we should have it in writing with the union groups, so even though it's a adjustment, you know, what we can get into, what the commission did in the last time.
I don't think you can use that. We already have done market adjustments, and we already have crossed this bridge with the union. So to all of a sudden now with a new employee, say, now we're gonna change the path, and we want it in writing from the union, which, you know, unions will
Well,
not agree
I
about
was skeptical
that.
on it before, that's why I said answer that.
Yeah, you win, go right ahead, you would.
In that new contract, because of this last stipulation, we did negotiations in 2012, I believe it was. Part of that, so we didn't have this issue resolved again, was that if there's a market analysis or a market prevailing wage issue, that is no longer a contentious aspect for the union. So if somebody has a market wage analysis done or have a prevailing wage issue come up to play, the union is not subject to that same aspect. Because we didn't want to go back down that road from 2011. So that is a stipulation, I think it's on page 14 of the union contract, that allows prevailing wage aspects to come to play without creating an issue for the union members themselves. So if that helps.
Thank you very much. And I think what Franklin is proposing as far as going with the official local government center from MSU doing a market adjustment of Broadwater County, I think that's a really good idea. It has potential to be very expensive, but I think that certainly it's worth looking into, Franklin. And if you do some homework on that and, you know, maybe contact the local government center, that would be a good thing to put on the agenda and get back from them. But I think it's one of those things that is going to take some time, and it could be very expensive, bearing in mind that we are underpaying pretty much everybody.
Well, I would kind of think they've probably done it, I have no idea how much they've done, but they've done it before. It's probably just plugging figures here and there and doing some checking on different things. But that'd be a thing to, yeah, I'd want to know what the cost is, definitely.
That would be
Or an
excellent.
estimate.
I don't think it has any bearing on what we're talking about today, because we have a supervisor paid less than part-time employees. We have to address this today. What you're suggesting is one of those that we probably will want to be addressing for not this coming budget, but the one after that, should we decide to adopt it, because depending on how much we are underpaying, it could be a price tag that we need to figure out how to cover.
Can I ask you to repeat again? 75% of people make what?
Over $19.57.
They make over that. And 25% or less.
Right, are at $19.57 or less.
The other thing that I'm gonna bring out too, in looking at these numbers, is that Lewis and Clark is now filing, if I'm not mistaken, 6 lawsuits on planning. Jefferson County has had a host of lawsuits on planning subdivisions. Gallatin County just probably walked themselves into another one, if you read the Belgrade News. Those are expensive. How many did we have during that hot and heavy subdivision time? How many did we win?
Had one and won one.
That's right. Lewis and Clark is looking at losing those 6. this position of county planner is extremely important to the fiscal standing of the county. You've done a superb job at this point, and I think that, I guess that just needs to be said.
All things considered, would you consider taking 1750?
I would, with the probationary period or no probationary period?
All positions have a probationary period, so I don't see any reason that we would single you out to treat you differently than other employees.
Okay.
And I do think we need to keep the, after you get your license, looking at phase 2 to address this issue. And I think the two are separate.
Sure. Okay. And so then, no change on the department at this point, is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion then that we take her to 1750 an hour. And Franklin is gonna get a hold of local government center and get some market adjustment numbers for all of our county employees. Isn't that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, well, but it's not gonna be by next week, I'm sure.
Oh, no. It's down the road a ways.
Okay, so is there a second to the motion? Or was that a second, Franklin?
Yeah.
All right. So it has been moved and seconded to move the planning position to $7.50 an hour at this.
Between, please.
What did I say?
I quit.
Oh, yeah, got really I was trying to slide that in there, you know. $17.50 an hour. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'd also like it on record that yes, Franklin is going to pursue the overall investigation, and also that we are going to revisit this issue at a time of your choosing, after you have your license, have your feet under you, grant writing, and redetermine the position title and job description.
Super.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank you, and honestly, job well done.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. All right. Tim, do you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, Tim Ravendall. Is this final decision immediately retroactive, or how do you want that to be taken care of for the record?
Without anything specifying, it would be as of today. Are you two okay with that?
That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as of today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you,
Go to the
Madam
next
Chair.
paper, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is 11:15, 11 o'clock. I do not see Bernadette here, so we have no COSs. We have 11:15, indigent burial, budget payment decision. Wayne, thanks for coming. Would you come on up?
Sure.
I understand you have some expertise on this issue to share with
I
us.
don't really know the whole issue, but I do have experience in this. I guess I didn't know how it came up.
All right, for that, I'm gonna toss you to Franklin. Franklin had the first conversation with Randy at the funeral home and brought it up to the commission last week. So
Yeah.
Franklin, if you'd like to update the board and when.
Well, just basically called me, we've been all this time, like 2 years without one, and they had two indigent ones coming up.
Well, they're not indigent though, by the reason of, and I don't mean to interrupt you, sir. The indigent burial that was designed for, when the coroner received a death, that there was no known family at all. And so when there's no known family, there's no one to take possession of it, then the county would step in and take care of the burial costs. And it's a burial cost, it's not, you can't cremate because it's miraculously somewhere around the world, somebody says that's my father or my mother, then as the coroner's office, we're in a pickle. So we actually have to do the embalming thing, we have to buy a casket. The $1,000 that's currently in that budget doesn't really even cover that. However, the two that he's referring to both have family. One that he brought up lately was Deborah Butcher. She has a daughter and a son-in-law that live right here in this county. They choose not to work. It makes them where they don't have money, but they are still family and they are still sole responsible for the cost and care of the loved one. That's where that comes play. The funeral homes and funeral home directors, they want to be paid, plain and simple. The fact of the matter is it should not rely on the backs of the taxpayers to put your loved one in the ground or cremation or whatever else. That is your responsibility as a sibling. It really is. And Dawn Amaro from, used to be Connors, she tried this several years ago. Every time somebody didn't want to pay for a loved one's funeral costs, they would come to our office and say, we want you to pay for it because these guys are injured. They're not injured. They have family members that are there. It's their responsibility. And we've only used it once in the last, I've been a coroner for 10 years. We've only used it one time, and that was an individual came up from Texas. And I spent 2.5 weeks, I think you actually dug the grave for that, Franklin.
Out here.
Yeah, at the county cemetery. I searched high and low. I mean, I talked to the banks, I talked to credit card companies, I talked to everybody in the world that I could find. The individual had a daughter who was adopted out when she was 8 months old, and then no one ever heard or seen from her since. No one knew her name, no one knew where she was born. I had nowhere to go. That was the only aspect, and so the county did end up paying for that one because after very due diligence, we were unable to locate a family member. And I know where Randy's at. I've talked to Randy quite a bit. However, I don't think this is something that we, as a county, want to go down the road of taking care of people because they don't want it. The family doesn't want to take care of them. It's unfortunate, but for these two individuals that I know about, it's time to grow up and get a job and pay your bills, and that's.
I don't know, but all I know is he said this one woman that she had a son, he located this son, and he says absolutely he didn't know what there was assets or anything, he did absolutely nothing. She walked away from him 50 years ago or whatever it was, you know. So it's the same as, I mean, no family, I guess. What else? I don't know.
I mean, and I guess that'd be a discretionary call on your guys' part. You know, I look at it as the aspect is, you know, we can pick our friends, we sure can't pick our family. And just because we choose not to engage in them is really a personal choice.
Oh, yeah, I agree on that too, but I mean.
And so that's where
What's
I'm
the
at.
person gonna do though? I mean,
Yeah.
you get to that point,
You know, I guess.
they got a body, they gotta do something.
You know, in that aspect, you know, if whoever the coroner was on that particular one, if they chose, even though they have a family member, if they choose to cremate them, that's a choice up to them. But really, indigent was dealt for, and it was developed for transient folks that we couldn't locate anything on. And that's what it was there for.
Randy told me that Lewis and Clark counties are around 20-25 a year. He said it's up to 70 a year there now.
Yeah. Well, with God's love and that really, I mean, the influx, spending 3 years working in the detention center, in October, we have a huge transient influx of inmate population because a lot of these folks that come out of Chicago, Detroit, they get on the train, they come out here to God's love because all the training units knew about God's love. So they come out here, and of course God's love is full. So they go down, and it was when Judge Pitch was the judge, and he'd say, you get caught trespassing or that blah, I'm gonna put you in jail for 6 months. They wouldn't walk out the door for more than 2 hours and be back the night. No, I'm here for 6 more months. Yeehaw, 3 hots and a cot all the way through winter, springtime, get back on the train and go back to Chicago or Detroit, wherever they wanted to go. And so, I mean, as a society, we've really kind of made, the government hand is taking care of us in more aspects than not. So, you know, I just don't see, and not to be rude or inconsiderate or you know, unempathetic to people's needs. We all have family, and we all have parents, and we all have siblings, and I don't think that as a taxpayer, that's what our job is to take care of that. So, you know, I think it's time for some folks to just really pony up, and I understand where Randy's at, is being concerned about how he's gonna get his costs covered, but I think he needs to look right back at the band members to do it. I will tell you that $1,000 doesn't cover anything. It doesn't even cover the embalming anymore.
Yeah, he sent a copy. Did you get those? The only one I saw was the contract with Marr County.
That's what I've got in front of me.
2,100.
Yeah.
So I think he said, I think he said before Jefferson was 1,500 or 1,800. Mills Clark's 2,500,
Yeah.
but,
And there's different levels, and, you know, we kinda got by pretty good on that last one, because they had a casket, that was oversized that they didn't know what they were gonna do with. And they were willing to give it to us for a very reasonable cost, but, you know, again, you know, with those situations, that's why we had the 10 plots developed out at the Centerville cemeteries, because you can't just cremate these folks. And we understand cremation's cost effective, but you never know. Somebody might do the family tree on .web or whatever it is and find a loved one that they didn't know about, and all of a sudden you got a family member screaming up and down, and they want to know, and you have no way to prove it, so,
that's what surprised us, in this one Mark I says on the cremation, isn't it?
The thing that I find interesting is, Mark County Coroner will make arrangements with funeral home for individuals who are indigent and who die without a next of kin who is financially responsible for the descendant. So if I'm reading this right, if there's somebody to pay, they will not pay.
they won't do it. It's just for people you can't find anybody to take responsibility for. And it has to be a loved one. It's not, you know, I've had, like the individual, you know, that Franklin helped with. That individual had lots of friends that were willing to help. Unfortunately, they like just cremated him. You can't, because, you know, we understand what his wishes were. However, you're not a loved one or a family member to take that responsibility. And so, you know, it's very complicated. It's like when you have, like I had one Friday, I had a death on Friday. The ex-husband was like, this is what she wants to happen. Well, great, but you're the ex-husband, and now we have to find the 2 kids, because they're the ones that make that decision, not you. Because once you got the divorce, you also separate any responsibility or in any aspect of that. So it becomes very complicated anymore. It's not as simple as we.
Okay, question, now this son that absolutely refused, so what's the person gonna do? It's the same as, no family? I mean, is it our responsibility, or is it the funeral homes, or?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, you know, I think it's still the son's, you know, because, I mean, if somebody was in a financial woe and they didn't want to pay for a funeral or a cremation cost because of their own troubles, I mean, I think we've got probably a third of a population of our county that could probably come in and say the same thing. And I think that's a door I don't necessarily know if we want to open, you know. He does have there is a known next of kin. I think it still goes back to his responsibility. As much as that might frustrate people and inflame some, I still think that it's their responsibility. And, you know, I think we leave that indigent account for the ones that we, through due diligence, cannot find a family member to take responsibility for. And I think that's what we leave it as, and we kind of plant our feet in concrete on it and just go that way. But that's my opinion, so.
Well, and this also says, the county will, in addition to the $2,100 payment to the funeral home, furnish a burial space for the body and pay for opening and closing costs, and a metal marker.
Mhm.
Well, we have a place to.
We do.
to
So
bury.
now we have our 10 plots at Centerville. So, you know, then that's all good. The only thing that we would have to worry about is the opening and closing, and I think that comes up, I think it's about 400, is that right? I'm trying to think.
Depending, at the most before.
It's been different, it all depends, I mean, it really does. But, and then the metal markers that we used were the same ones that,
Like the military ones?
yeah, it's just that one we had. You know, we tried to look at doing like a bronze or something like that. There's actually quite a bit of cost to that. And so, the one we have out there is still just that metal marker that Donna gave us for that one, and that's what it is. You know, I think there's some adjustment that needs to happen there, but I don't think we need to go overboard with it. I mean, we've had one transient case case that we've had to deal with since I've been coroner 10 years. So I just don't see where we're going to have to really expand that too much. I think it's more of an at-need basis. But
I know years ago, they always, Rick and Catholic one had a separate for, county borough, or whatever you wanna call them, I guess.
And it's,
I think they still do.
yeah,
I think so.
so, and since the county owns Centerville, it seemed appropriate that we
Yeah.
went out there, so. And we're trying to do some maintenance and some work to that as well, because I think we have an obligation to the deceased to make sure that we keep up and maintain that facility as well. And Dana came in last year and put some gravel in and made a road so people weren't driving all over the place. And Mike had talked to RY, I don't know if they did it yet or not, they were gonna try to get some logs and outline.
They did one with Big Rock.
Yeah, they did,
They took the fence out, I see that.
did they? So, you know, I think it's just one of those things that we have an obligation to, just to kind of keep up with. So, because there's some old graves out in that cemetery. I mean, 1700s, I believe, or 18. They go back Civil War, I think even pre-Civil War era. So, but if that helps, I don't know if it helps. I just, that's kind of where I see it and what I know from what I know. So,
So if we say the family has to pay, is it up to you or is it up to Randy to?
it's up to Randy. I mean, it really is. So that's an agreement between the family members and the funeral home. You know, it's their obligation to do. No one likes to do it. I mean, it sucks, I'll be honest with you, but you have to do it. And, you know, a lack of pre-planning on one person's part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine either. So, you know, that's kind of where that goes too, so. I really sound not very. I do have compassion, it's just there's things that, I think there's a fine line that we have to walk with that, so. Because I think if we walk down that road because somebody says, no, I don't wanna take care of it, then we open the door to, hi, I'm Billy Joe Jim Bob, and hey, I'm SpongeBob SquarePants. I think we're gonna have it inundated through us, so, not just a bad thing. So.
All right. Thank you,
Anyone?
Lynn.
Are you sure?
I think so. Do
Okay.
you guys have any more questions for Wynn before we have a
No,
motion and?
we know what the situation is, it's just gonna.
I mean, there's no happy ending to it one way or the other, but, you know, I just,
Nobody wins.
nobody wins, nobody does. And, you know, that's an unfortunate part, but, you know, we're all kind of, we all understand we're gonna die. And if you leave your family hanging, then shame on you, you know. I don't think it's everybody else's burden to bear, so. But, your guys' call, but I gave you the info. So, if you have any questions, I'll be next door,
All
so,
right.
okay?
Thanks, Wynn.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Wynn.
So, what do you guys think? We have to address whether or not we want to put more in the fund, and also whether or not we want to address, there's two issues, two different potential indigent burial situations with the funeral home. So what say you guys?
First of all, I think the funeral home should go through all the hoops to see what they can get. We shouldn't have to do that. I guess it can, you know, I don't know. Through all the wars and everything, you know, always buried the people, so.
Back then, okay, who paid to bury him? The military?
Oh yeah, now they do. I expect they did all through the years, like the VA, see, any veteran can be buried there.
Right, but if they want to be buried here, does military take care of that?
I don't know.
The county
But-
does not.
No.
No, what?
The county does not take care of military burials.
No. Of course, in this case, I assume they're not military, you
Yeah, I have.
know, but I don't know,
Madam Chair,
Mm-hmm.
a personal opinion, I agree with Wynn. This is not the county's financial responsibility to take care of people who are not truly indigent. You're opening a huge can of worms if you agree to pay for either one of these.
And setting a precedent I don't think we want to set. Thank you,
No,
we
I
still
agree on
should,
that too.
I do too.
we still should have a record of decision so that Randy has that. So we should have a motion in a second, then we can take discussion.
Should we, have him come and we'll just explain to him and he can explain what his options are, I guess? It looks like it's on his shoulders, or wherever it's at, I mean, not necessarily.
He was, I did invite him to come today, he had a funeral today. If that's the way you guys would like to handle it, that would be fine. Just tell me when, or tell Tammy when you want it on the agenda. The other thing we could do is like we do many of the things on the agenda, is send a letter and let them know what the decision of the commission was and why. So,
If you'd like to come, get on the agenda then.
and I'll let you follow up on that then? Do you
No, I
want to
mean,
hold off on any?
if you send a letter, I guess just,
No,
if they're not satisfied with
That's
the letter.
always an open for them, anybody
Right,
can
that
call
they
and get
can-
on the
yeah.
agenda at any time, yeah. So what would you guys like to do? I would, well, what would you guys
For
like?
one thing, I think we probably should provide the lot or the burial site.
It's a county cemetery, so yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
so we do
that's
that.
certainly,
I would like to say, it could open the door on that.
it most definitely would. I guess I'm gonna request of the board that a motion be made to deny both of these requests for indigent burial that we received via phone last week. Because according to Wynn, there is family, this does not fill the definition of indigent. And this is not a precedent that we want to set, because if we take away any parameters for the definition of indigent, then those parameters just get stretched further and further, and we will have everybody looking to the county citizens to pay for every burial. I don't know that this is one of those things that, that there's a lot of wiggle room. If this were a true indigent, then we would have notice from the sheriff's department as we have in the past. And then at that point, we would address putting more money in the fund to cover that, is my suggestion and my thoughts on this. What do you guys think?
I would agree with that. The other thing is, I would like to see the county do an agreement with Randy, just like Mark House. So it says in black and white, if there's family, we're out.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah. It actually is up to him to do the footwork to contact the families, do whatever. really.
It's any business, a painting business where somebody doesn't want to pay, it does not become the responsibility of the county to go after that person to pay their bill. This should be no different. This is
And-
business.
Isn't Social Security pay $250 or $300 for each?
No, military does.
No.
Okay. I thought Social Security, does anybody know?
Social Security.
Yeah.
paid us that.
I
Social
should have
Security
gone.
does pay-
Yeah, Social Security.
I'm sure of that.
So that he'd get that,
Mhm.
which if it's $250, it isn't very much, but,
It isn't very much.
but if we, and I think the county furnished a lot.
Do you want to go down that?
Right, I'm not thinking that that's something that, if you guys request that a letter be made, that's not something I'm going to put in the letter unless it's a majority vote.
What do you mean?
You're not gonna put in about the 250, you mean, or what?
No, I think a letter needs to address just the request that we pay for these indigent burials. As far as offering other fringe benefits, I don't think that's something the county should put into writing and again, set a precedent for. I think we need to go by the book, I think we need to go by past practices, and I think we need to go by the letter on this. It does
Well,
pull at the
if
heartstrings,
it's
but
indigent,
that's not
we'd
our
be furnishing the
job.
lot anyway.
Right, but if they're not, no, you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
They can certainly pursue being buried there, but I don't think that that's something the county should be offering that we're going to pay because we feel badly about a bad situation. That isn't our job.
No. I would have to agree. I'll make the motion then. We send a letter to Randy saying this person, man, woman, whatever, is not considered indigent. There is relatives, and therefore the county's practice is that we do not pay.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to draft a letter to be signed by all three commissioners stating that we will be following the indigent burial process. All those in